Hello, welcome back to another episode of Brit Does Baseball Does podcast, Rounders Roundup. It's week 12, and we're kind of crowded in here today. There's three of us. I'm joined by Gaz and George. How you boys doing?
All the better to see your face.
Oh, stop it! I'll blush, and it's audio only now, and they can't see it.
No, we are still on YouTube. We just don't put as much effort into it.
That's fair enough. Well, then the YouTube people will know that I'm lying, so that's fine. George, how you going?
Good. All the better for seeing your face again, Cal. It can't be said enough.
I'm blushing all over the place. Now I actually am.
Rude.
Well, sorry. Yeah, it's week 12. It's roundup time. We've got a few things to talk about today. We're going to have a look at some Cy Young contenders and things. We're going to bitch and moan about how our teams like to lose a little bit, although there's some slight bragging rights over in my direction for this week anyway. Next week, I think we might have a different story. But we're going to start off with some trade rumors. So just recently, because the All-Star break is coming up, we're trade talk and teams that are choosing to win and choosing to lose are kind of starting to separate themselves a little bit. And I saw quite an interesting one for my favorite team. So I thought, why don't we find one for each of our favorite teams and we'll have a little discussion about it. It's a podcast, it's what we do. We'll start with the Giants one. I saw quite a few rumors for Rafael Devers being traded to the New York Yankees, specifically to play third base. How does that make either of you feel in any particular way?
I think it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, but the argument for it was that a lot of people think that teams are going to take on a lot of money before they can't take any more, if that makes sense. So we said we're not going to talk about it, but we have to reference it a little bit. With the kind of impending lockout and the trade agreement between the Players Association and the Owners Association?
I think it's just MLB and the Players Association. MLB is basically the 30 owners and Manfred.
Right, you are.
Doing a great job.
Fantastic. The biggest kind of thing, not the biggest, but the biggest to me is the introduction of a salary cap and a salary floor. However, the Dodgers have kind of fucked that up for everybody a little bit because Ohtani's on what's he got? 8 years left of this deal, but then after that expires, he's owed $750 million. So it's a little bit confusing how they're going to work it out. But the general consensus seems to be that they think that it will be that you have a salary cap except for what you already have agreed. So they're not going to make you trade away a bunch of players. It's just you won't be able to keep exceeding it. You'll have to try and work down towards it. So the idea that winning teams may be trading for bigger contracts before they kind of struggle to bring bigger players in is a little bit more interesting. So I don't know. Devers on the Yankees would, I think, I don't really want to see him leave the Giants, but for what you could get back for Devers, learning from the Red Sox trade, with the short porch in right field and Devers being a power hitting lefty, I think there could be a lot to gain from it. Yeah, and I think the idea of teams trading for bigger contracts, knowing that they're going to be stuck a little bit, I think it's quite an interesting approach, and I'd quite like to see the Yankees try to do it. I don't know if it'd be accepted, but it'd be interesting to see what they have to say about it. What do you boys reckon?
I don't know. I think, you'll know better than us, Cal, but like when I look at Devers' season this year, I'm not necessarily inspired by it. And I know that he has like a great track record from most of those years in Boston, and you're kind of projecting that in the right environment, he'll go back to being, an all-star and a guy that you'd want to pay all that money to. But I think we've been through enough of the season now and the end of last season as well wasn't perfect for him to say maybe he's not the guy who was paid all that money. Maybe he has taken a little bit of a step back. But if the Yankees believe in him, and I guess they don't really have a solid answer at third at the moment. So
it's what, CJ McMahon or something?
Ryan McMahon. I don't know where you get CJ from.
It's probably another athlete somewhere else, or a musician, I think, actually. But exactly, dude. It's Mr. McMahon, no WWE. He's all right, but he's not lighting it up. Whereas Devers in May was fantastic. He had, on this road trip, he had a little bit of a not great time in Milwaukee, but he seemed okay in Chicago, kind of leveling out again. When he gets going, he's unreal. And I think that playing in a hitter-friendly ballpark, I think you could see him kind of jump back up quite drastically to the player that we see for 3-week stretches 5 times a year.
Sounds like half the Cubs outfield.
Well, speaking of the Cubs, the trade rumors I saw for the Cubs was for, I believe he's an infielder, utility infielder, Matt Shaw.
Yeah, so was a big fan of Matt Shaw, and then we get into political beliefs and all that stuff. So we'll part that aside. I like him as a player. He's got good defense. So last year he was the everyday third baseman. Then we went and got Bregman, and he's basically in this super utility role. So he plays second. He can play second, third. Did some time at first base randomly, and then corner outfield and center field. He's got starts everywhere, all over the diamond. With the idea being that he was going to be the first guy on the bench. Where you have like that pinch hit situation, like 7th or 8th inning. He then comes in and plays defense wherever you need him. And also he can give a load of guys time off. So he's been out injured for the last couple of weeks. Prior to the injury, I would have said, yeah, probably trade him. You get good value for him. But knowing the struggles that the Cubs have been going through the last probably month now, like we've not won a series in a month, I don't want to trade him. He's actually got a decent back compared to half of them. I mean, we're paying Alex Bregman $35 million a year to hit sub 250 and strike out in every clutch moment. We're paying Dansby Swanson, I don't know, $20 million a year to hit below his body weight. We're paying Seiya Suzuki $30 million a year to, just not really hit a home run to cut the lead in the Giants game from 16-1 to 16-3. He's cut the lead down to 14. Or 13. That's what you want from your star right fielder. So no, I would keep him at this point because I think there's enough money coming off the books, especially like we're going to lose Ian Happ and Seiya Suzuki to free agency at this point, I think. So Kevin Alcantara's come up. I think he's played in like 4 games and he's been caught running the bases twice, and some of them have been so egregious. So I don't even think he's ready yet. So I'd keep Matt Shaw. What do you guys think?
I think it's interesting. A lot of what I saw was, while he may primarily be kind of a utility infielder, that it is the corner outfields that he may get significantly more time as of next year when there is baseball. So I don't think I would be looking at trading Matt Shaw out of everybody on the lineup, but I don't know. It depends how deep into the slide into below 500 you start going, and the pitchers stay hurt, and it becomes quite apparent it's not going to come back. Then, maybe it could be worth it for some arms or something to boost you next year.
Tarek Skubal to the Cubs.
For Matt Shaw, 1 for 1.
Yeah, great trade value. George, do you know much on Matt Shaw? I know he's not on everyone's list.
Beyond that, yeah, he's just a reliable guy that you see him in lineups and you're like, oh yeah, that's Matt Shaw. But not a huge amount else. I guess I'd be in the same camp that if you were going to blow it up, there are other guys on that roster you could get more for. if you wanted to blow it up, or if you were going to do like a soft rebuild or whatever, then and if you were hunting for prospects, then you'd choose other people to trade away. But if it's more of like a see what we can get and then go again next year, then maybe he's the guy that you'd be willing to part with. I don't know.
He is 24, which I think does put heaps more value on him than maybe is worth.
Yeah, but we're in a position where we can't really soft rebuild on the positional side because of the players who've got locked up. We've got all of the infield are locked up through arbitration for the next 3 years, with the exception of the catcher. PCA is locked down for the next 6 years. God help us, unless we get Pete Crow Armstrong from the last week. Prior to that, it was dreadful. So the positions really are only catcher and corner outfield, where he's not going to be a catcher, let's be honest. So, I don't know, maybe there's some value there. But speaking of pitchers, one pitcher I really want next year when he hits free agency is Mets starting pitcher Freddie Peralta. There's been a few rumors about him, if I'm not mistaken, George.
Yeah, a lot of rumors actually. I feel like he's the big piece everyone's looking at, and this year he's been just exactly what you would expect. Like his ERA has been exactly around his career ERA. He's going like 5 or 6 innings, and he's been exactly as advertised. Like I think you were saying before, Gaz, he's looking for a max 3-desk contract, and he's just not that. He's not that kind of guy. He's reliable and he's steady, but he's not, in my mind, a superstar. But I think for teams like the Dodgers or the Mets, especially actually the Mets, or even maybe San Diego, who don't necessarily yet trust their ability to build a rotation themselves, like that is worth a lot. Just a guy who's really reliable, who's going to pitch every 5 days pretty well. I think he will get traded unless the Mets go on like a crazy run before the deadline. But I think even if he gets traded, there's a chance he re-signs with the Mets at the end of the year. So it's an interesting one. Like I can't say that I've had a bad experience watching Freddie Peralta this year. Like he's been good, but he's not a world beater, and he's going to get crazy money in the offseason.
Just listen to his contract he signed with the Brewers. 5 years, $15.5 million.
Yeah.
In his final year. Like, I think his payroll salary this year is $8 million. Yeah, 5 years, $15.5 million. Signed back in 2022. That's a steal, right? I know, I mean, it's still millions of dollars, but comparatively, it's a fucking steal.
No, they got in early. They believed in him before he really broke out, and it really paid off. And you could say now he really deserves it. Again, not to get into all the CBA stuff, but if you have pitched like well above your pay grade for the past 5 years, then you're kind of entitled to cash in on that. But I think he'll be who he is now, and that's not worth what he's going to get paid, but it's worth more than, a guy who's going to get injured and be up and down. He's just very steady, very, very steady.
It's interesting, I think, with more teams trying to give big contracts to players younger. I think it's great for the players now, but long term, that deal expires when they're 30. They're wanting a huge pay grade. They're wanting loads of years. But I think by the time they get there, I don't think the money's going to be there that they necessarily want. So it's quite interesting having the huge extension at a younger age, and like especially for a pitcher. I think I'm quite surprised that he took that deal in the first place, to be honest.
Yeah, but it goes wrong though. Like I'm sure the Red Sox are not happy about the contract they gave to Brian Bello, because they gave him a lot of money at a young age and he hasn't looked like he's worth it. But then on the other hand, I think the Pirates, you saw the contract they gave to Connor Griffin. I'm sure they offered Skeens a similar-ish contract, like in his first year, basically, just to try and trick him into signing something below his level. So, sometimes it works and other times it doesn't.
Yeah, wacky stuff.
Should we do the bad news story and then we can start to liven it up a bit again? We'll do the one bad news story we've got, unless you count talking about the Cubs, Giants, and Mets as bad, because
Is the bad news about Mr. Beast?
No, Mr. Beast is the good news.
Okay, cool.
We'll save that. We're saving that. The bad news is there's been an injury, as there always is in baseball. And Jameson's height. No, I'm joking. Aaron Judge has hit the IL for the next 4 to 6 weeks with a rib fracture.
46 weeks.
4 to 6 weeks.
426 weeks. Holy shit, he's died.
He's gone for a while. 4 to 6 weeks. Stress fracture in the rib. Most people worked out that the rib actually attaches to the shoulder through reading about this injury. I could have told you that 3 years ago when I dislocated a rib in my shoulder and didn't know what the fuck was up with me. And then the physio went, boom, boom, boom. Oh, we'll just pop that back in. I was like, oh, what was that? Was that my shoulder blade? No, that was your rib. So, yeah, I didn't know that, but now I do. But I already knew this, so I'm smarter than most of America.
News to me. I didn't know that.
You learn something new by attending these roundups. Yeah, out for 4 to 6 weeks. It's a bit of an interesting one because he started off really well and then kind of got into a bit of a slide, unlike Uncle Ben Dryas, who's been fantastic.
Hell yeah.
What does this mean for the Yankees? Because I believe they recalled Spencer Jones to the big leagues. Jason Dominguez is currently working his way back from injury, so the outfield will probably be Spencer Jones, Cody Bellinger, and Trent Grisham in some way or form. What do you think this does for the Yankees for the next 6 weeks? Do we think they're gonna do a Detroit Tigers and curl up into little balls and get battered by everyone, or do we think that this will motivate them and they're good enough to kind of withstand this injury? What do we think?
I think they panic trade for Rafael Devers. No, I think that it could bring up the idea of them looking to bring someone else in that's on maybe an expiring deal to fill the void a little bit, because without Aaron Judge, the Yankees are a good team, but they're not a great team, and they kind of need to be a great team to be where they're, it feels like they're supposed to be, kind of. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's gonna be strange, but I think they're gonna bring someone in about it.
Yeah, I think that in last year's scenario where it was a real division race, then this would be pretty catastrophic, where there were 3 or 4 teams in the AL East all kind of looking for those playoff positions. But I think the Yankees, knowing that their main rival this year is the Rays, it seems like, who are, great, but come the end of the season, that might regress to the mean. They're not going to feel as desperate, you'd think, especially because Aaron Judge's last year was one of those seasons that only happens once every 100 years, by stats. It was just ridiculous. Whereas this year he's been great, but not super Aaron Judge, best of all time level, maybe. So I think they'll probably be okay. It's obviously, you don't want to lose a guy like that, but I'm sure they'll be all right come the end of the year.
If it is the longer end, so if it is around 6 weeks, then that would take it to the week after the All-Star break. So it's only, you can take a week off of his injury, really there. Then he's got to recover, but he's a fucking alien robot, and he'll be fine. He'll come back and he'll be okay. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be very interesting what they try and do. Maybe they just try and struggle through to the All-Star break and then kind of regroup from there, because I don't think they're going to lose enough games that they fall behind, but I do think it's going to be significantly harder for them to keep winning games.
Yes, they just don't really have a real like-for-like replacement, because Spencer Jones, when he came up the first time, didn't look very good. Sorry, he looked fine health-wise. He just didn't look very good against MLB pitching. And then Jason Dominguez cannot play right field. He's a defensive liability at best at left field. So Bellinger will have to turn around from left to right. And if you're playing left field at the Yankee Stadium, because of the short porch, you need to be a good defender in left field. So you don't really have someone who can be that guy to the level that Judge can be.
You know what would be elite is if they signed an outfielder out of Los Angeles and they put both of them in the same team. Because if your outfield is Cody Bellinger, eventually when he's healthy, Aaron Judge and Mike Trout, it would be incredible. I don't see why they shouldn't try.
I don't think Mike Trout wants to leave Anaheim, and I don't know why at this point. But
There's something so severely wrong with him if that's the case. Because what, you're gonna run around with Feastables on your sleeve next year?
Oh, you keep trying to spoil it. We'll get there. We'll get there. Aaron Judge's injury, however, has opened up the MVP race. So we'll go into a couple of the awards. A couple of them are a little bit boring, like National League MVP. Guess who is odds-on favorite? Oh, Shohei Ohtani.
Oh.
Yeah, not even in the top 7. But the American League MVP. So everyone sort of thought that Aaron Judge was going to three-peat. And, you know, you naturally would because people are boring and like to vote for the same person. But if he's going to be out for this amount of time, I know he was out for a little bit. I know he was injured a little bit last year, but it was like 2 weeks. 6 weeks is a significant amount of time for him to be on the shelf. And for the last month, he hasn't really been hitting well. So is this the year that Bobby Witt Jr. finally gets that MVP, do we think, in the American League?
Did he not just get injured as well?
Yeah, but he's day-to-day. That's
okay.
Separate bit. Assume he's fine.
Assuming he's fine. Fingers crossed. I like him. I like Bobby Witt Jr. a lot, which is, you know, a hot take. That's, what is it, Saka barbecue sauce levels of a hot take going on there. Bobby Witt Jr. is very good at his job, but I don't know. I'm desperate for it to be fucking anyone else at this point, man. Even if Judge comes back, hits 1 trillion home runs, just give it to someone else, please.
Can I tempt you though, George? On the other side, Yordan Alvarez for the Houston Astros.
I really like Yordan Alvarez, and I think it's a cool story. Like after he was out for so long last year, injured, to come back and be hitting as well as he is, and I think they've kind of figured it out. They just have a good system now where they rotate guys through the DH like more effectively than then. Like lots of teams try that, and then like their hitters just end up falling out of rhythm. But they've got a good system where they just cycle people in and out of playing the field in DH, and it works really well, especially for him. I think that'd be cool. But I think it would be really cool if they give it to Witt, just because like, and I saw people like talking about like if defense will actually get recognized in the way that maybe it should, and like his defensive run saved. I think we were talking about this in our prior episode, just about like how much higher his defensive run save stats are than every other player. I think he has more than twice the amount of defensive run save than any other shortstop in MLB. Like it's just ridiculous. And he's stolen more bases as well. Like he's just unreal.
There's also something so strange about wanting to stay in Kansas City. Could have gone anywhere. Could have gone absolutely anywhere. But there's a part of me that likes it too. It's not quite as egregious as the Angels and Mr. Beast, but
he could win 7. The Royals could win 70 games this year, and Bobby Witt will be the MVP.
Sick.
That is Mike Trout level of I don't know what you want to call it, level of stupidity, whatever.
Difficulties, man.
Yeah. One more news story before we get to our teams, and then the bonus story that Cal keeps hinting at, which we didn't know anything about until George brought it up to us right before we went live. So Cal just knows the headline of it. The National League Cy Young is really heating up, and it's probably the award out of all of them where you've got 3 guys that are giving you totally different elements of the game, and they're all going to get there in a different way. And it's just interesting to see where people are going to go with this Cy Young. So the 3 players, you've got, I'll get this one out of the way early because Cal will get pissed off. Shohei Ohtani, he currently has a 0.74 ERA across 61 innings. He's looking pretty good, but he's part of a 6-man rotation. So whilst he's got the lowest ERA of the 3, he will also not have as many innings as the other 2 contenders because they are just out-and-out pitchers. The second person to that is perennial runner-up last year. He got all 30 second-place votes behind Paul Skeens last year, and that's the Phillies' Christopher Sanchez. He's got a 1.46 ERA through 13 games and already 20 more innings pitched than Shohei. And the cool thing about him, he went scoreless for 50 and 2/3 innings across, I think it was like 6 or 7 games. And the Blue Jays or someone finally got a run against him. Like just consistently pounding the zone. He's got over 100 strikeouts already. The whip is 1.09. He's putting in like really, really good career numbers, and he's making that push. And for me, that's the innings pitch person. That's your workhorse. That's the consistent. The third one is the most exciting, and I know Cal loves the man, and I think George will come around. I think George is coming around on him. It's the Miz. It's Jacob Mizorowski. 78 innings, so 10 innings less than 10 innings less or 3 innings less. Yeah, 10 innings less than Christopher Sanchez, so there's not the longevity there, but 116 strikeouts. So this man is doing like 1 1/3 strikeouts per inning he's pitching, close to 1.5. 1.5 ERA through 13 games. Jacob Mizorowski for the Brewers. So you've got a strikeout machine, you've got Mr. Consistent, and you've got Golden Boy MVP, poster child of MLB. George, if you could take one of the three right now, who is going to win the National League MVP? Cy Young, sorry.
I think that the voters will trip over themselves and try as hard as they possibly can to vote for Shohei Ohtani to win the Cy Young, because I think winning MVP and Cy Young in the same year will just be too much for them to not be able to resist. But if I had to give the award out, I'd give it to Miz, just because I think he's like the most fun to watch, just like the velocity and the strikeouts. So that would be my pick.
Okay, and Cal, who I don't even need to ask you because I know who you're going to say, but go on. Who would you give the Cy Young to, and who do you think will win it?
On both counts, I think it's the Miz. I think if he can stay injury-free throughout the season and just keep throwing the ball at 1,000,000 miles an hour 1,000 times a game, then that seems to be the best to me.
Okay, I can dig that. We'll go 3 for 3. I want the Miz to win it, despite the fact he's a Brewer. I just think he's the most exciting one of the three.
He's so
But
good.
I'm not against Christopher Sanchez winning it because I think he's been so consistent, and going over 50 innings scoreless is cool. It's a cool feat, however you paint it. And he will get to the highest innings total of the three if they all stay healthy. The current voting odds, Christopher Sanchez is the favorite, closely followed by Jacob Mizorowski. And then there's a little bit more of a gap back to Shohei Ohtani. So it's probably between Sanchez and the Miz if they keep doing what they're doing and stay healthy. It depends if people value the number of innings pitched versus the number of strikeouts versus ERA, because Shohei could easily finish the year with the lowest ERA, but he could end up with 60 innings less than Sanchez and the Miz. So,
yeah, which I don't think should make him a qualifier at all. I think it should be a combination of all of them: innings pitched, strikeouts, games won, everything.
I agree. I know how much like baseball writers love narrative, and I'm like, if he sacrifices a bit of his hitting towards the end of the year, which like he is known to do sometimes, just switch around his priorities and really focuses on it. I don't know. Maybe I don't trust them.
We should vote. We should
vote.
Casey Schmidt would be MVP by the sounds of it.
Yes.
Rookie of the year would be a combination of Moises Ballesteros and Nolan McLean. Nolan McLean's facial
Carson Benj. Carson Benj is the new one. Yeah,
Bryce
sorry.
fucking Eldridge is also a rookie, thank you.
Yes, but he's also 6'10" and runs like he shits himself.
And that might be true, but shut up. Thank you.
Okay, we're coming up to our last story before we talk about our teams. I'm not going to say any more. George, give us the story.
So I saw a tweet, and I'll tell you how I saw the tweet after I read the news story. But it was an Angels minor league beat writer for like a big Angels blog, as Angels blogs go, who tweeted some crazy tea is flying around the minor league stadium today. Take this with a grain of salt, but I've heard that a potential suitor for the Angels, someone who's been wanting to buy them for a few years, is the YouTuber Mr. Beast.
Do it.
Apparently he's a big Angels fan, has always been a big Angels fan. And yeah, I guess has a lot of money. But if you think, the Padres are a different story, but they're the most recent team to sell. So they're the easiest ones to look at. And they sold for a huge amount of money. I know Mr. Beast is rich, but he's not by a MLB baseball team rich. He'd need like at least 2 billion. And that's like at least 1.5, 2 billion. That feels conservative even, given what the Padres sold for.
I reckon they'd sell it to him off of kind of merit alone. If anyone's going to make them that money back, it is. What I think is interesting, because you said about him growing up as an Angels fan, that might be true. However, he grew up in North Carolina, and where is one of the expansion teams most heavily rumored to be?
Oh, that's such a good point. I hadn't even thought of that. Yeah.
I don't think it will be the Angels, but I think the North Carolina Feastables will absolutely be a thing. I'm not sure he will be able to buy it, but I do. If he is interested in a baseball team, I think they will give him one.
The reason I saw this tweet is because somebody quoted it with his high school baseball stats.
Right.
And in 70 games played, do you guys want to guess what his average was?
It's either going to be ridiculously low or ridiculously high.
It's not going to
be like 325.
450.
I'm gonna go higher. I'm gonna go 601.
It sounds less impressive now, but yeah, 424 average, 511 on base.
Jeez, that's still sick though.
Yeah, in 70 games he had 65 RBIs. You take that. That's not bad at all.
Does he want to come play for the Cubs?
Right, yeah. Give him a try. Why not? He played all of the outfield and DH, apparently.
Damn. There you go. Maybe that's where he got his name from.
He's younger than me.
Yeah.
I thought he was like 35. No, he's 28. He was born in... Sorry, how's he an Angels fan? He was born in Kansas. And he went to high school in North Carolina. How is he a Los Angeles Angels fan?
It's because the Angels are one of 2 teams that were kind of set up and owned by Disney for a while to support the movies. It's in Anaheim, which is where Disneyland is, and it's called the Angels because of the Angels in the Outfield movie. I think it's just respect for massive corporation and huge money, and that's why he don't give a shit about the baseball team. It's because he recognizes the game that Disney has.
But when he was young, also, I guess like Trout was the thing, right? There's probably a lot of very sad Angels fans from cities that didn't have baseball teams because they love Mike Trout.
I remember being in like year, what would it have been? Like year 6 or year 7, probably like year 6, right? So how old are you then? Like 10, 11 or something? I remember having a conversation with this American guy at my school, and he was like, the Los Angeles Angels are the best baseball team of all time in all of history. And I was like, I think it's the Yankees. And he was like, no, and there's this guy, his name's Mike Trout, and he's going to be incredible. And I went, okay, fish man, whatever. It's ridiculous to me that fucking Jimmy Beast, or whatever his actual name is, was like having similar conversations.
James Stephen Donaldson is his legal name.
Oh my God, Jay Donaldson? He's back. He's retired and he's younger now, but he's still just as mental. That's sick.
I think that's going to take us to our final segment where we get to talk and moan about our teams. I'm going to kick it off because I'm going to keep it short and sweet. The Cubs have not won a series in a month. It has been a month, a calendar month, not a dog month, a calendar month. And we have not won a series. We have just lost back-to-back home series against the Athletics and the San Francisco Giants. That we have had 70,000 pitchers hit the injured list. That's all I'm going to say. I think I want to hear about the Mets a little bit more than the Giants. So let's get the Giants out of the way, and then we can end on a more positive note, I'm sure, with George.
Oh, was that Mets next or Giants next?
No, Giants next. Sorry, Cal wasn't paying attention.
Right.
He was
I was pulling up stats. I was pulling up stats for the first time ever, and it's backfired on me. We're getting rid of the stats. The Giants have scored 1 trillion runs in the last week, essentially. 19 runs against the Rockies, I think it was, at the start of last week. And then 16 in Chicago, and there was like a 10 in there somewhere. All of a sudden, the offense isn't good. The Giants are still not a fantastic baseball team, but Jung-Hoo Lee's on like a 15-game hitting streak. Rumor has it that when he was injured, he would spend hours in the cages just looking at the balls coming into him, and just getting so comfortable. Bryce Eldridge switching it on, he's getting the consistent game time, and it's paying off. The outfield little shaky, but Jonah Cox doing all right. Matt Chapman finding his form, he's getting there. Willie Adames, apart from one home run that I'm convinced was to spite me exclusively, he's not been great, but Devers has been good. Luis Arias, I'm going to be sad when we trade him in like 2 weeks. Casey Schmidt continues to be phenomenal. The pitching is, on the upper side of mediocre, maybe, but it's getting better slowly. So it's okay. Last week wasn't the worst week to be a Giants fan. That was the week before. So how's the Mets? What's been going on?
It's saying something when the positive end of the spectrum is the 29 and 36 Mets, who are 15 games back in their division. But we did win a series over the weekend against the Padres, which was good fun. Carson Bench and AJ Ewing are really the only reason to still tune into this team, but they are electric. Carson Bench went 5 for 5 yesterday, which was great, including a home run, which is amazing. He is like a rookie now that just feels completely comfortable. When he first made the opening day roster, he really didn't look comfortable, but now over the past 6 weeks, he's been top 15 in stuff like average and OPS, and he's hitting home runs and looking great on defense as well. So I think that makes the Brandon Nimmo trade make a lot more sense, because he is going to probably be the everyday right fielder from now on, or depending on where they want to put Soto. And then going into this past couple of weeks, Soto led the NL in OPS, but has kind of cooled, has been scuffling a little bit. So it's been nice that other players have picked up the slack, because when I was last on the show, I think it really was just the one Soto show. And then if anybody else got a hit, you felt pretty positive about that. But yeah, nowadays it's Carson Bench and AJ Ewing, who is putting up just kind of respectable numbers in center field. But as a rookie in center field, just looks like he's played there for 10 years. Like, he's catching everything. He's so quick. He looks great. I think we're entering, which is, not really what everyone had in mind with the highest payroll in the league, but we're entering into like another kind of baby Mets era where you're just looking at the prospects and being like, okay, McLean looked better over the weekend after struggling over a few starts. Bench, Ewing, guys like maybe Ryan Clifford down in the minors, if Beatty could ever figure it out, that is something to be excited about. Is with Soto, who's going to be here for the rest of his life. That's exciting, as opposed to Bo Bichette, Jorge Polanco, who will be out, I think, for the whole year with ankle bursitis. That's my prediction. They keep saying he's going to be back next week. I don't think he's ever coming back. And Luis Robert Jr. hasn't played a game since April. Lindor's been out for the past 6 weeks. Yeah, bring on the youngsters. That's the story for the Mets at the moment.
Has Bichette been playing every day?
He's had to play basically shortstop every day, because after Lindor got injured, and then our backup younger guy also got injured. So yeah, he's basically had to play shortstop every day, and his bat has been horrible.
Well, that's fine. He can play shortstop, so that's not so bad.
Yeah, just about.
Is that the worst contract of the offseason? $42 million?
without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, because nobody's going to trade for it. Like, I think we'd have to take on most of his salary to get it off our books.
I think there's a worse one out there, and I think his name is Carl Tucker. But
Oh, yeah.
we'll park that for next week.
Maybe Adrian Hauser got any money, and that seems like he should be doing that for free. But anyway,
well, I'm glad the Mets are. I'm glad the Mets have kind of, you've gone through the emotions of this isn't our year. What a terrible, terrible, terrible deal these guys did, and now it's turned around to, well, at least the kids are playing and they're playing well. So
the future's bright, but the next couple of years are still gonna suck, man.
Yeah, and I guess the only thing is we have one of the only 2 or 3 owners who can just tolerate Bo Bichette earning 40 million doing nothing and sign players around him, whereas most other teams can't do that.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Well, this has been week 12 of the Rounders Roundup. We're in the 3rd month of MLB action. If you haven't listened to us before, sorry, I should normally do this plug at the start, but I forgot. Yeah, you can catch us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcast. You'll probably know that because you're listening to us now. Come and engage with us on Instagram. We've got a real fun one coming up. We've got our anniversary show about three weeks away now. And we've got one more round of Family Fortunes. And Cal is famously 0-2 in Family Fortunes. And I'm just lining up an opponent for him to see if he can get the hat trick of losses or not.
I've still got beef with every single person that voted for ice cream out of a mini helmet or whatever the fuck it was that made me lose. The first one, it's ridiculous.
So if you listen to this and want to be part of our survey, then drop us a note on Instagram. I need 100 people. I currently have about 28. George is going to be doing the survey once we finish. Mm-hmm. This has been a Rounders Roundup. George has been George, Cal's been Cal, Gaz has been Gaz, the Cubs have been depressed, and the Giants have been even worse, and the Mets seem to be out of the depressing stage and just into acceptance. So those are your 7 stages of baseball grief. We'll catch you next time. Maybe Alan will come on and it will all be happy. Bye!